Welcome back to the Shipyard and Top 10 Weapons. This one took a bit to get together. Full disclosure, all photon torpedoes were immediately disqualified from this list on account of them burning in a pit somewhere. That's a joke, people. Don't take me seriously, please. I rarely run secondary weapons. So this was kind of a list of, if I'm going to run a secondary weapon, what do I actually want to run? What is good? What helps make a build better? That's what's going on this list. So number 10 is Barrage of Fire. And I know this one may get me the most flack, but I've talked about it before. I don't remember the last time I've run it. Or if I do, it's Dominion War OP4. That's almost 3 years ago. And when it's that long, it kind of makes me question how viable it is to me. I know it's still a good card. That's why it's on the top 10. And believe me, there were more than 10 legitimate weapon cards here that I could have gone with. But I like Barrage of Fire. Combining attacks is a good thing. It doesn't work with fighters. Both ships have to be in range. You get knocks. There's problems with it that make me kind of go, there's probably better things I can be doing. That doesn't mean that it's bad. It just means I think that there's better out there. Number 9 is Disruptor Pulse. I like this because it's multiple attacks. I get to say, hey, I'm going to shoot at you, I'm going to shoot at you. I get to take a little bit at everybody. And when you have something like that, it can only help. It's not a card I run a lot, but it's a card that I think has a good place in the game. And it's probably one of the cards that helped diminish the rampant abuse of fighters. It doesn't get rid of fighters. It doesn't make fighters terrible. It just makes it so people don't necessarily want to run 3 unprotected ships and 3 fighters. So, yeah, Disruptor Pulse, a good card. Number 8 is Charging Weapons. And I hemmed and hawed about this one, but ultimately I came to the decision that it's worthwhile. It's a 1-point weapon, and it doesn't really do much, but it's 1 point. It gives me a passive reroll. It fills a slot that is very rarely used, and it's a good effect. Those 1-point cards have value. Charging Weapons, I think, is worthwhile. That's why I like it. Number 7, Missile Launchers. I like this for the simple fact, 2 attacks, and any crits you get are hull damage. So conceivably, unlikely, but conceivably, you could kill a ship that has full shields. It would be tough to do, but there are ways to boost your dice, and sometimes you get lucky. I understand that there's downsides to making 2 separate attacks. Your opponent gets their full defense dice both times, and whatnot. You can target 2 different ships if you want. You can target the same ship twice. You have a few different options. Missile launchers are a niche card, but they're interesting, and I think that they're good. Number 6 is Energy Dissipator, and I've messed around with this a bit. I've had it used against me a little bit, and ultimately, I like what's there. It's expensive as all get out to put on anything other than a Breen ship. But if you can do that, it has a really good effect. Attack cancellation, shields down, movement control. Why not? Why wouldn't you do that? If you can make it work. Really good secondary weapon. Number 5, Upgraded Phasers. Now, I'm differentiating between Type 8 and Upgraded. So Type 8's coming. But Upgraded are here. They have a great effect. They counter fighters pretty well. They're number 5 for the simple fact that they're faction locked. Yes, Federation are great, and Upgraded Phasers go really well on Federation. There's only so much you need. Boosting your attack, again, great. You're still paying for it, and If your opponent doesn't bring fighters, then Type 8 is a better card. That's why that's there. Number 4 is additional phaser arrays. Yes, there's an S. This is a card I was not sold on when it first came out, but I have come around to this so much. Mainly, it's the Enterprise A with additional phaser array. Because you take a scan, and now you're getting +1 attack die on each attack. And if you're attacking something that's cloaked, well, it's +2 on both attacks. Plus, you put Type 8 upgraded on this, and it's just fantastic. Additional also works in conjunction with a bonus attack from Admiral Worf, so Admiral Worf can give you an activation phase attack, and then use additional phaser array, and you get 2 attacks in the activation phase, which is just, well, ridiculous. Yeah, that's the short of it. And making that attack with 2 less dice, it doesn't feel like it's that much of a penalty. So that brings us to number 3 and the aforementioned Type 8 phasers. They're great. They're 2 points, extra attack die. It's everything you want. But they do more than that. They go on a ship of any faction. My personal favorite, the Romulan drone, the prototype. Just because, hey, a little more dice, it's better. There's a ton more applications than that, but that's a cool one to have. I've talked so much about Type 8 upgraded Haakona. It's been done to death. But yeah, Type 8s are great, and they get the number 3 slot because of their flexibility to go on more than just Fed. That's why they're good. Number 2 is the one card that's like a torpedo, but not a torpedo, that I will actually use, and I may get as much flack as Barrage of Fire for this, but it is Disruptor beams. Now, why is it here? Well, it's here because all you need is a ship in range. Range 1 to 3. No 2 to 3, no range 3 only, no 1 to 2, no specific range. Just in range. Done. No target lock, no battle station token, none of that. And then, it's essentially quantum torpedoes. You put on damage, and then you roll as many dice as you are doing damage, and as long as you roll 1 hit, you do 1 extra damage. You can't do more than that. You have to figure you're rolling 3, 4, 5 dice. You're going to get a hit on that. And even if you don't, well, what's it really going to matter? But this has all the advantages over every photon torpedo because of the action economy. You don't need the target lock. You're not worried about that. Yeah, they disable, but you just spend your action to re-enable, and you can roll Disruptor beams again. It's kind of unfortunate they don't have a rear arc, but can make that work. And the number 1 weapon, the only thing that's missing, is Magnetometric Guided Charge. The quintessential secondary weapon. If you're running a Borg Scout Cube, and you're not running Magnetometric Guided Charge, then you're doing it wrong. Period. The big Borg ships, you can get away without running Meg Charges, because, well, they've got 6 attack dice. But the Scout Cubes, they've got 3. Meg Charges, they roll 3 dice. So you're paying points to extend your range and get an awesome effect. No defense dice, battle station conversion to crit. Yeah. This weapon basically does everything except ignore shields. That would just be completely broken. Meg Charges is one of the top 10 cards in the game, let alone the best weapon. And the gap between Meg Charges and everything else is not even close. As I was making my list, it was, okay, top weapons. Meg Charges. Okay, now let's figure out the rest of the order. It's not hard. At least for me. So, yeah, those are the top weapons. Certainly, Arsenal bears a shout out because it adds slots and it enables some fun time token stuff. Torpedo base, cool. Combo potential. Dorsal phaser array, both Fed and Mirror, are both good. The Dominion 360 fire at 4 dice, that one's good. Kind of running through the things that were at least under consideration. The Zindi prototype weapon card, that's an interesting one. Consider that. Borg multi-kinetic neutronic mines, that's definitely there. Chronoton torpedoes are awesome, just not quite there for me. Tactical Station was definitely close, just because it's a good card. I mean, if Charging Weapons is there, Tactical Station definitely worth considering. Main Batteries was another good one. Ferengi Weapon Ports, just weapon ports. That's also at least an intriguing card. Little too disadvantageous for me, the disable aspect. So those are the weapons. You can pick and choose some things. I'm not going to nitpick some of the other choices, but that's what's there for me. There's good weapons, there's okay weapons, and then there's a lot of bad weapons that are out there. Multi-vector assault mode. Hopefully I've brought a couple of things to your mind. Go out, experiment, have fun. That's what these lists are intended to do, is to bring up ideas and get people thinking. That's what I try to do, and highlight good cards as well. So thank you guys for listening, and until next time, we'll see you around the shipyard. Take care.